Welcome back to Amazingly Average, the show with advice for amazingly average authors and actors. My name is John, and I'm really pissed because I caught a sea king in the mall earlier today, and I caught it in the Pokeball, and the Pokeball fell on the ground, and then just kept rolling away, and then I was disconnected from the internet. Sea king! Today's episode of Scream was titled, Let the Right One In. Here are the spark notes of Let the Right One In. This is a Swedish film, which probably explains why I've never seen it before. There's this kid named Oscar who meets a neighbor named Eli, who he thinks is a girl, but we later find out is actually a boy. Oscar and Eli have a sort of friendship until Eli's guardian, Hakan, says that he doesn't want the two of them being friends. Then we go on this murderous rampage where Hakan is constantly trying to kill people and harvest their blood to feed Eli, who is apparently a vampire. Basically, Hakan burns his face with acid so that way the police don't trace him back to Eli because Hakan tried to kill somebody and then got caught. Then Oscar and Eli have like a gay relationship, and then they go on like this murder rampage together, and they kill a bunch of bullies, and then they ride this train off into the sunset. My summary might not be the most accurate, but that's what I think happens. Now back to Scream. Eli wakes up, puts on a pair of sunglasses, goes to this bedroom, and then he sees two people that he doesn't know at all, and he just walks out. Did he wake up in a stranger's house? Sheriff Acosta shows up at the Duvall house, and Emma and Maggie both tell him about the pictures that Emma found in that house, which was next to the barn where Jake was murdered. Audrey and Noah had a sleepover sort of thing after this little confession about Audrey's connection with Piper. And then Zoe pops up and says, Noah, do you want to study? Emma and Kieran get in an argument because Kieran keeps telling on her to the cops, and she says that she feels betrayed, and that was such a Will Belmont moment. So, Kieran, are you about to get sliced in half? Brooke tells Audrey about what she did to Seth Branson. Sheriff Acosta goes to investigate the house where all the pictures were, and they find a picture of this little girl holding this man's hands. I'm guessing that the little girl was Emma, and I'm guessing that the man was her father, which would be Kevin Duvall. The thing about this, though, is that the face of the father was all scratched out on the photo. Emma meets Eli at the coffee shop where they both work now, and she confides in Eli all of her frustrations with Kieran. We get some exposition here from Eli that Kieran in Lakewood is totally different from the Kieran that lived somewhere else, personality-wise. We also learned that Kieran apparently had a really bad argument with his stepfather right before his stepfather and mother got into that car accident. Is this giving Kieran a motive? I don't think so. You be the judge. Zoe and Noah go to this lake, and she tells him that she was in some sort of space program at the same time that Piper's rampage was going on, and she says that this took place during the fall while Piper was around. Noah says, that's funny because that program only runs in June. Zoe gets really defensive, she shrugs off the topic, and then she eventually confesses that she did something really bad, which her mom put her in therapy for, and she was out of school for a while. Something to note here is that this is the exact same kind of exposition thing that Piper told Emma, that her father was murdered and she was just seeking justice. So maybe this horrible thing that Zoe did was a murder. But that would be unlikely if her mom knew about this murder and didn't send her to the police. Brooke and Audrey go to the hotel room where Seth Branson was left handcuffed to the bed. Remember from last time, Seth Branson got his hand cut off and burned with an iron. When they go to the hotel room, there's nothing there but a watch, what looks like a pair of pants, and the little blindfold sleeping mask thing. As they're leaving the room, we see that there's a hidden camera that caught all of this on footage. This killer is like making some sort of sick documentary here. Brooke also gets a text message from Branson to meet him at the school, and then Audrey gets a text from the killer saying, you show up at the school alone without Brooke, or the killer's gonna send Brooke the gif of Audrey unpinning that message from Jake's corpse. We go back to Zoe and Noah, who are now making out at this lake. Karen Lang sort of corners Emma at the coffee shop to apologize for locking her in an office, and Emma basically says, y'all need to back off. After Karen leaves, Eli tells Emma that they need to go have some fun, that they should go get dinner, that it's a treat on him. Barf alert! Jackass alert! Back the bad words. Leave Emma alone. At the same moment that he's handing Emma his phone number, Kieran walks in, sees this, he gets livid, and then just leaves. Is this giving Kieran a motive to do something bad? Is he capable of bad things that we didn't know he could do before? Also, Gustava wasn't in this episode at all. We jump back to Karen Lang, who's in her office at school. Note that it is a Sunday, so nobody's there. She is playing back and forth on this tape recorder over and over again the conversation that she recorded of her talking to Emma at the coffee shop. She recorded this without her consent. Who still plays back and forth on a tape recorder like that? Like, does an iPhone have all that stuff? Noah is shopping for condoms like it's real estate, and then this sales associate walks up and they have this really bad awkward exchange trying to find the right condom. Well, are you a big boy? Karen Lang gets a call from the killer that says Seth Branson isn't very handy these days and that he's waiting for her in the hallway. She walks out into the hallway, sees this little wind-up pig toy, continuing with this farm motif. She follows it down the hall. Then she goes back to her office. Her office is trashed. She goes out into the hallway. She sees a bleeding Seth Branson on the floor, who is still alive and missing a hand. And then she gets chased by the killer. The killer throws Karen Lang over the staircase. She hits her head on the floor or something. She's bleeding profusely. A janitor finds her. Audrey enters at the exact same time after she convinces Brooke to wait outside. Brooke rushes in anyway. She's like, "What are you doing? Call 911. Audrey hypothesizes that the killer wanted to make it look like Audrey was involved with Karen Lang's murder, just like the killer made it look like Audrey had something to do with Jake's murder. Noah and Zoe are basically about to hook up. Noah says, "I haven't actually done it with a human yet. You've been f***ing squirrels or something?" Zoe says, "You're in good hands." Really, how does Noah get this much attention? Just as they're about to do it, Audrey bursts in to tell him about this murder, and he's like, "No, Audrey, you need to leave. I was about to get it in." And then Audrey refuses to leave. It is so awkward. Zoe grabs her clothes and leaves. Hawk block! This does bring up a few things though. Zoe now has an alibi for this killer's appearance because she was with Noah supposedly the whole time. I don't buy her therapy sessions though. Sheriff Acosta and Maggie are having some sort of conversation which makes it seem like the two of them somehow have a mutual secret, and the secret could be the reason why Emma's being targeted by the killer again. Emma and Eli go into this abandoned house, which was apparently a model for architecture or something, and they're gonna have a picnic. He kind of kisses her, and then she politely declines, saying, "I'm fighting with Kieran, but I still love him," etc. And Eli's like, "Yeah, you need time to figure it out." Then the smoke alarm goes off. They go towards the kitchen. Half of the house is on fire, and we find out that on the second floor, in a bathtub, there are the bodies of Eddie Kruger and Seth Branson, and Seth Branson is still alive. Seth Branson burns alive. I mean, he was kind of a dick at some point, but what did he do to deserve getting his hand chopped off, getting thrown around in the school, and then getting burned alive in a bathtub with a corpse? Emma wants to call the fire department, and Eli's like, "No, I've been in trouble with the police. Let's not tell anybody. We'll just leave." And she reluctantly leaves. And now it's time for the killer prediction. I'm at a loss for words here. Karen is off the table, even though I didn't think it was her. Zoe appears to have an alibi. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like she somehow has a reason that this is possible. Because if you remember last season, Piper Shaw got knocked out while she and Will were getting that confession out of the mayor about the blackmail. Haley was not present in this episode, and neither was Gustavo. Okay, here's something that I learned from a gym teacher in high school. For somebody to commit a crime, there needs to be the opportunity and the desire. A lot of people don't appear to have the opportunity right now, but everybody appears to have a desire. Gustavo has both the opportunity and the desire to attack Branson. Haley has the opportunity and potential desire to mess around with Audrey. Nobody has a clear motive for attacking Karen, and nobody has a clear motive for why they would want to mess around with Emma. I'm really confused. My guess is still going to be Zoe, but there are serious holes in my theories here. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't run the show. I just talk to this camera and you watch it. I don't know why. But thank you for watching. Well, there you have it. That was this week's episode of Scream. Please leave your theories about who the killer might be in the comments below, because I like hearing these theories. All very interesting. And as always, I will see you next time.